I'm Ramona. Standing in the middle of a now empty store, the silence is almost deafening. The trendy neon sign that once flickered with life has now buzzed out, and the metal gate clanks shut behind me, a sound that feels like the final nail in the coffin. I look across the mall corridor, where a small crowd has gathered to watch the spectacle. There, holding a bag and looking utterly defeated, is Ethan, the district manager who thought he had the world at his feet. Just a few hours ago, it was Black Friday, and this place was a chaos of shoppers, music, and the constant beeping of registers. Ethan was in his so-called element, barking orders and berating everyone around him. I was at the front tables, struggling to fold sweaters that were being ripped from my hands. A woman had dumped a latte on the table, and I was frantically trying to clean it up before it ruined a large amount of inventory. Ethan descended from his perch near the registers. "Ramona, what the hell is this?" he shrieked. "Are we serving breakfast now? Look at this mess." I tried to explain that a customer had spilled it and that I was cleaning it up, but he wouldn't listen. "You're not cleaning fast enough. Look at the line. Look at the disarray," he said, kicking the table leg. "You have no drive. You're a wage slave, and you're bad at even that. Fold those shirts faster or get the hell out of my store." Something inside me snapped. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the fear behind his eyes, the fear of a man who was nothing without his little badge. I stopped scrubbing, dropped the paper towels on the floor, and unpinned my name tag. "No," I said, my voice cutting through the pop music like a razor blade. Ethan laughed nervously. "Did you just say no?" I repeated, "No," and dropped the name tag into the puddle of latte. It splashed onto his shiny, cheap shoes. "I'm done folding, Ethan," I said. He roared, "It's Black Friday. You walk off this floor and I'll blacklist you. You'll never work in this town again. You need this job." But I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. "Actually, Ethan, I really don't," I said as I tapped the screen to send the email to the fire marshal. Then, I reached into my bag and pulled out a manila envelope. "I quit," I said. "Before I go, I have some administrative updates for you." I slapped the envelope onto the coffee-stained table. "What is this?" He scoffed. "It's a copy of the building lease," I said. "I own this store. I own the walls, the ceiling tiles, and the ground you're standing on." He laughed, a desperate, cracking sound. "You make $12 an hour. You can't own this place." I corrected him gently. "I make $12 an hour because I wanted to see how you treat the people who make you your bonus, and the answer is poorly." I then held up a second document. "This is a notice of immediate invocation of Clause 12B. Emergency renovation and safety closure. This store is legally closed due to multiple Class A safety violations, which I've documented and just emailed to the fire marshal." His face went from red to a ghostly white. "You can't close the store. It's Black Friday. We have sales goals," he stammered. "Sales goals are irrelevant to my liability insurance," I replied. "You have blocked fire exits, exposed wiring, and a sewage leak. You're a walking negligence lawsuit." I turned to the customers. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the inconvenience, but this store is currently a fire trap and a health hazard. For your safety, I'm ordering an immediate evacuation of the premises." Just then, my phone buzzed. "That will be the fire marshal. He's 2 minutes away. Suggest you start getting people out, Ethan," I said. And soon enough, 2 large men in uniforms appeared at the entrance. It was Tom, the fire marshal, and his deputy. Tom looked past me at the mob and said he needed to inspect the premises. Ethan tried to stop him, claiming I was a disgruntled employee, but Tom ignored him. I turned to the staff. "Brittany, tell everyone to clock out. You're all getting paid for the full day." "I'll make sure of it personally," I said. Brittany whispered, "Is it true?" "It's true," I replied. "Don't worry, I'm going to make sure you guys are taken care of." Tom came back out a few minutes later with a grim face. Clear it out. Shut it down now, he boomed. Ethan whimpered about the sales, but Tom wasn't having it. You have a pile of flammable cardboard blocking a fire door and water dripping onto a 220-volt outlet. You're lucky I'm not arresting you for reckless endangerment right now, he said. As the customers filed out, I walked over to the control panel by the door and grabbed the key to the security gate. I'll take that, I said. Ethan hissed, you can't lock me out. I'm not locking you out, Ethan. I'm locking the liability out, I replied. Time to go. He didn't move at first, but when I threatened to have him trespassed from my property, he finally grabbed his coat and bag and walked out. To understand how I got to this point, we need to rewind 6 months. I was sitting in a conference room on the 40th floor of a downtown tower. The table was made of polished mahogany, and the water was sparkling. My attorney, Lucas, slid a thick stack of documents across the table. You're sure about this, Ramona? It's a distressed asset. The mall's anchor stores are bleeding, and Trendy Threads specifically is showing signs of corporate rot, he said. I knew all about it. I wasn't always the one in control. 10 years ago, I was a regional manager for a shipping company. I gave them my all, missing birthdays and working through the flu. But when a new CEO, a man just like Ethan, came in, he fired me via a Zoom call to save 0.4% on the quarterly budget. He called me redundant. I swore then that I would never be at the mercy of a middle manager again. I took my severance, leveraged my savings, and started investing in commercial real estate. I found I had a knack for it. I didn't get emotional about buildings. I knew that if you control the ground beneath the businesses, you control the world. Lucas warned me that Trendy Threads was an aggressive tenant. They pushed for long-term, low-maintenance leases and treated landlords poorly. But I had looked at their financials. They were over-leveraged, cutting corners on safety to fund executive bonuses and treating their staff like cattle. I didn't just want the rent, I wanted to teach them a lesson. I turned to page 47 of the lease agreement, the part that most people ignore. Clause 12b, the Emergency Access and Renovation Clause, I said. Lucas frowned. Standard boilerplate. Landlord reserves the right to close premises for safety upgrades. Not standard, I corrected. Aggressive. I want the right to immediate unilateral closure of the premises if any safety violation is documented during a high traffic period. No notice required. Immediate lockout. Lucas looked at me over his glasses. Ramona, that's a nuclear option. No tenant will sign that. But I smiled. They will. I'm offering them the lease at 10% below market rate for the first year. A corporate algorithm will see the savings and auto-approve the contract. They won't raid page 47. Guys like that only look at the facade, not the foundation. 3 days later, Trendy Threads signed the lease. They thought they had fleeced a naive woman, but they had just handed me a kill switch. However, having the switch wasn't enough. I needed to know when to pull it and if they deserved it. So, I created a fake resume. I stripped it of my degrees, assets, and history and became Ramona, a former cashier looking for seasonal work. I applied to my own tenant. The interview was a joke. The manager, Ethan's assistant, Lily, didn't even check my references. She just checked for a pulse and handed me a vest. Welcome to the family. Just try to stay out of Ethan's way, she whispered, looking around as if she was afraid the walls had ears. For the past 6 months, I've been gathering data. I've watched as Ethan has been a terrible boss. He's a liability, a walking lawsuit. He's the cancer in my building. I've documented his every mistake, from the sewage leak in the fitting room to the wage theft and the blocked fire exits. Back in the present, as I watch Ethan standing there, defeated, I know that the fallout will be swift. By Monday morning, the corporate headquarters of Trendy Threads will be in a panic. Closing a flagship store on Black Friday isn't just a loss, it's a PR disaster. Local news will run a segment about it, interviewing Tom, the fire marshal, who won't mince words. My lawyer, Lucas, will send a notice of breach of lease, citing all the safety violations, unauthorized alterations, and the hostile work environment. Corporate won't fight it, they know they're caught. Ethan will be terminated for cause, and he'll be blackballed in the retail industry. I'll also contact the Department of Labor regarding the unpaid overtime and time theft I've witnessed. I'll provide the names and contact information of the staff members, and an investigation will be opened. Trendy Threads will settle quietly, cutting checks to every employee for back wages plus damages. 3 months later, the space that was once Trendy Threads will reopen. It won't smell like cheap polyester anymore, it will smell like old paper and fresh espresso. I'll have leased the space to a local independent bookstore collective that has been looking for a flagship location. I'll give them a great rate on the rent on the condition that they hire from the local community. I'll walk in on a Tuesday afternoon. The lighting will be warm, and there will be soft chairs. Lily will be behind the counter, looking different. Her skin will be clear, and she'll actually be smiling. Hey, Ramona, she'll wave. Hi, Lily. How's the new management? I'll ask. Amazing, she'll beam. We actually get breaks, and the manager, Maya, brought in donuts today just because. As I walk out of the store and into the mall corridor, I'll see Ethan standing near the mall directory, holding a clipboard and wearing an oversized bright yellow vest that says Temp Agency Survey Taker. He'll look rough, his fake tan faded, his hair overgrown, and tired. He'll try to stop shoppers, but they'll ignore him. He'll look up and see me. His eyes will lock onto mine, and there will be no anger left, just a deep, hollow shame. He'll see the keys to my luxury car in my hand, the expensive coat, and the woman who had folded his shirts and then folded his life. He'll open his mouth, maybe to say something, maybe to beg, maybe to curse me. But I won't slow down. I'll put my sunglasses on, even though we're indoors, and walk past him without breaking stride. He'll be a bad memory, a stain on the floor that has been scrubbed clean. I'll get in my car and drive home. I'll have a meeting with a contractor about repaving the parking lot next week. The work never ends, but at least now, the trash has been taken out.